Life is a battlefield, and every single one of us is a warrior, whether we know it or not. The fight isn't always against an enemy you can see. More often, it's against life's storms, your inner doubts, your setbacks, and the silent struggles no one else knows you face. But here's the truth. You were born with an inner warrior, strong, resilient, and relentless. It's time to wake that warrior up. This isn't just about surviving, it's about rising. Today, we start the journey of training your inner warrior, so when life knocks you down, you'll rise stronger than ever. Chapter 1. When life knocks you down. There's a moment in everyone's life when the world stops making sense. One phone call changes everything. One conversation shifts the ground beneath you. One unexpected blow leaves you staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m., wondering, how did I get here? For some, it's losing a job. For others, it's the betrayal of a friend. Maybe it's the sudden loss of someone you love. The details differ, but the feeling is the same, like someone pulled the rug out from under your feet. I remember meeting a young man, Arjun, who had built his life around one dream, becoming a professional athlete. Years of training, sacrifice, and relentless focus brought him close to his goal. Then, one injury, one wrong twist during a game, ended it all. He told me he felt as if the world had closed its doors on him. His future wasn't just uncertain, it felt stolen. His story may sound different from yours, but the feeling he described, emptiness, frustration, disbelief, is universal. Life has a way of knocking the wind out of us when we least expect it. And when it does, our first instinct is often to freeze, to replay the moment over and over, searching for what we could have done differently. But here's the hard truth. The blow has already landed. You can't go back. The only thing that matters now is how you respond. When life knocks you down, you are faced with 3 dangerous traps. The trap of denial. You pretend it didn't happen, bury yourself in distractions, and avoid facing the truth. The trap of self-pity. You become the victim in your own story, convincing yourself there's no way forward. The trap of bitterness. You allow anger to consume you, shutting out growth and hope. Each of these traps feels natural in the moment because they give you temporary comfort, but they are deadly to progress. The first step in training your inner warrior is to recognize that getting knocked down is not the end. It's an initiation. Every great warrior has scars, and those scars are earned in battle. Think about it. A warrior who has never faced an enemy, never been wounded, never been tested, what strength do they have? None. Your trials are your training grounds. So how do you start standing back up when you feel crushed? Accept the hit. Don't waste energy wishing it hadn't happened. Face it. Say, this is real. This is my challenge. Control your first step. You may not see the whole path ahead, but you can take one small action today to prevent the darkness from swallowing you. Protect your mind. In moments of pain, your thoughts are vulnerable. Choose what you feed your mind, books, voices, and ideas that lift you up, not drag you down. Refuse isolation. Your inner warrior doesn't grow stronger in silence. Share your struggle with someone you trust. When life knocks you down, it's not a sign of weakness. It's a signal. The fight is here. You can stay down or you can rise. The choice, though hard, is always yours. Inevitable. Rising is a choice. That choice is what separates those who merely exist from those who truly live. Every warrior's journey is defined not by how many times they fall, but by how many times they stand back up. Let me tell you about Priya, a woman who lost her business overnight when her partner vanished with the company's funds. She could have given in to despair, and for a while she did. She spent weeks replaying the betrayal in her mind, questioning her judgment, and blaming herself. But one morning, she woke up with a thought. This cannot be the last chapter of my story. That day, she took one small step, writing down every skill she still had, every contact she could reach out to, every lesson she had learned. Within a year, she had started a new business, stronger and wiser than before. What changed for her wasn't luck. It was the moment she decided to rise. The truth is, choosing to rise is rarely a dramatic, cinematic moment. It's quiet. It happens when you are alone with your thoughts, standing at the crossroads between giving up and trying again. It's when the voice of doubt tells you, "Stay down, it's safer here," and you answer, "No." Why is this choice so powerful? It puts you back in control. When you choose to rise, you take the power away from the event that knocked you down. It triggers momentum. The first step forward creates the energy for the second, the third, and the 100th. It rewrites your identity. You stop seeing yourself as the victim and start seeing yourself as the fighter. There's something deeply human about the act of rising. It tells the world, "You can't keep me down." It tells yourself, "I am stronger than I thought." And here's the secret. You don't need to feel strong to choose to rise. You just need to decide. But make no mistake, choosing to rise doesn't mean the pain disappears. It means you carry it differently. You use it as fuel instead of letting it chain you. The warrior's path is not about being untouched by hardship. It's about refusing to let hardship define your destiny. If you're in that place right now, lying on the metaphorical floor wondering if you can get up, remember this. Rising is not about knowing every step ahead. It's about committing to take the next step, and then the next, until you find your footing again. The moment you choose to rise, you begin to train your inner warrior. And the more you make that choice, the stronger, braver, and more unstoppable you become. When something painful happens, the first question most people ask is, why me? Why did this have to happen now? Why did it have to be me and not someone else? Why couldn't life have gone differently? It's a natural reaction. The human mind looks for explanations because explanations give us a sense of control. But here's the problem. When you get stuck in why me, you are staring into the past, trying to rewrite something that can't be changed. You are focusing on the blow instead of the way forward. And as long as you stay in that place, you're trapped. I met a man named Samir during a leadership workshop. He had been a mid-level manager in a successful company for over a decade. Out of nowhere, his department was cut. He lost his job, his steady income, and his sense of security all in a single meeting. For weeks afterward, Samir was consumed by, why me? He compared himself to colleagues who were spared, replayed the conversation with his boss in his head, and obsessed over what he could have done differently. The result? He lost valuable time that could have been spent building his next chapter. One afternoon, Samir's teenage son asked him, "Dad, what's going to happen now?" And something shifted. He realized his son wasn't asking, "Why you?" He was asking, "What's next?" That moment was the turning point. Instead of asking a question that led to blame and self-pity, he asked one that led to action. That's the shift every inner warrior must make. Moving from, why me, to, what's next? Because the truth is, the first question looks backward, but the second one looks forward. The first drains your strength, the second fuels it. So how do you make this shift when your heart is still heavy, when the loss is fresh? Acknowledge the reality without judgment. You're not ignoring what happened, but you're choosing not to add the layer of "this shouldn't have happened." Redirect your mental energy. Every time you catch yourself asking, "Why me?" consciously replace it with, "What's next?" Do it even if you don't have the answer yet. Focus on controllable actions. You may not control the past, but you control your response. Even the smallest action, a phone call, an email, a plan, shifts momentum. See the opportunity in disguise. This is difficult, but most life-altering setbacks also contain seeds of growth that are invisible at first. When you ask, "What's next?" you are not denying your pain. You are simply refusing to make it the center of your identity. You are declaring that the next chapter of your life will be written by choice, not by circumstance. Warriors don't spend their time shouting at the storm for coming. They secure the sails, adjust their course, and look for the path forward. The battle is never won by those who stand frozen, staring at the clouds. It's won by those who move. If today you are still wrestling with why me, remember that the most powerful thing you can do for yourself is to redirect your energy to the future. Your past is a place to learn from, not a place to live in. The day you replace why me with what's next, you turn from a casualty into a combatant, and that's the first step toward victory. Chapter 4. Owning your story, not your scars. There's a difference between being shaped by your past and being defined by it. Every battle you fought, every scar you carry tells a story. But too often, people make the mistake of letting their scars become their identity. I once worked with a woman named Kavita, who had gone through a difficult divorce. For years afterward, whenever she introduced herself, she would somehow bring it up, sometimes directly, sometimes subtly. Her story had become, "I am the woman who was betrayed." She wasn't doing it for sympathy. It had simply become the lens through which she saw herself. Her scar had become her label. Scars are proof that you've been through something and survived. But here's the truth. A scar is not the wound. The wound is the pain, the bleeding, the moment of hurt. The scar is the healing. And yet, too many people treat their scars like fresh wounds, reopening them over and over by making them the headline of their lives. Owning your story means you take control of the narrative. You acknowledge what happened, but you decide what part of it will define you. It's the difference between saying, "I was betrayed," and "I learned who I can trust and how strong I can be." Both statements are true, but one chains you to the past, and the other empowers your future. How do you start owning your story without letting your scars control you? Separate the event from your identity. Something happened to you. It is not you. Frame it through growth. Ask yourself, what did this teach me? How am I wiser or stronger because of it? Tell the story as a chapter, not the whole book. Your life is bigger than any single event. Place it in context. Refuse to let others define you by it. People may remember your setbacks, but you have the power to show them your victories. Warriors wear their scars with pride, not shame. They don't hide them, but they don't lead with them either. They know that each mark is proof of resilience, not a symbol of defeat. Think of a seasoned fighter. When they enter the arena, they may have old scars, but those scars don't fight for them. Their current strength does. The same is true for you. Your scars tell the world you've been tested, but your choices today tell the world who you are. Kavita eventually realized that she could either spend the rest of her life retelling the story of her betrayal, or she could write new chapters. Chapters where she was the builder of a new career, the mentor to young women, the architect of her own joy. Her scars didn't vanish, but they stopped being the main character in her story. Your past is part of you, but it doesn't have to be the loudest part. When you own your story, you stand on your scars instead of sinking into them. You say, "This happened, but it's not all that I am. I am more." Chapter 5. Building the Comeback Mindset. When you're at rock bottom, people will often say, "You'll make a comeback." But what they don't tell you is that a comeback is never automatic. It's not a matter of waiting until life fixes itself. Comebacks are built, brick by brick, decision by decision, day by day. The difference between those who stay down and those who rise again isn't talent, luck, or even opportunity. It's mindset. Specifically, the comeback mindset. The comeback mindset is not just about optimism. It's about refusing to accept your current situation as permanent. It's about having the mental toughness to believe that your future can be greater than your present, even when there's no evidence yet. I remember working with a man named Rajiv. He had lost everything in a failed business venture: savings, credibility, even the trust of some friends who had invested in him. For months, he avoided people, avoided conversations, and avoided opportunities because he believed his failure had permanently stamped him as unreliable. Then one day, an old mentor called him and said, "Rajiv, if you want to come back, you need to stop living like a victim and start thinking like a builder." That call was the spark. He didn't get his success back overnight, but he began laying the foundation for his return. Within 2 years, Rajiv wasn't just back on his feet. He had built a business more stable than the one he lost. So what exactly makes up the comeback mindset? Here are the core principles. Radical ownership. Stop waiting for someone else to fix your life. No one is coming to save you. Your future is in your hands. Vision beyond the setback. Your current struggle is not the whole story. Picture the life you want to create in detail and make it your guiding compass. Relentless action. Even when motivation is low, take action. Action creates progress, and progress creates hope. Refusal to accept permanence. Whatever your situation, remind yourself daily, this is temporary. Learning as fuel. Every failure holds lessons. Extract them and apply them immediately. Building the comeback mindset also means learning to control your inner dialogue. Your mind will want to replay your failures. It will want to warn you of future pain. You have to train it to focus on solutions and possibilities instead of regrets and fears. One powerful exercise is to reframe every negative statement you catch yourself thinking. For example, "I ruined everything" becomes, "I learned what doesn't work and I'm better prepared now." "It's over for me" becomes, "A new chapter is waiting to be written." "I don't have what it takes" becomes, "I'm building the skills I need, step by step." The comeback mindset is not about pretending things are easy. It's about deciding that even if life has knocked you flat, you will rise, you will rebuild, and you will fight until your future is brighter than your past. Remember, every great warrior has faced defeat. The difference is, they didn't stop there. They used defeat as the starting point for their return. Chapter 6. Turning pain into power. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. That's not just a nice phrase. It's a truth you must understand if you want to become unshakable. Pain by itself is just a sensation, an experience. What we do with that pain is what determines whether it breaks us or builds us. The greatest warriors in history and in life know how to turn pain into fuel. They take the sting of loss, the heaviness of grief, the fire of anger, and they channel it into something constructive. Action, creation, purpose. Let me share a story. A woman named Mira lost her younger brother in a tragic accident. For months, she was consumed by grief. She stopped going to work, stopped meeting friends, and almost stopped living herself. Then, one day, she came across a journal her brother had kept. In it, he had written about his dreams of helping underprivileged children get an education. Mira decided she would honor him by making that dream a reality. That decision didn't erase her pain, but it gave her pain a purpose. Within 3 years, she had built an NGO that educated hundreds of children. Her story teaches an important truth. When you give pain a purpose, it stops being a chain and becomes a weapon. Here are ways to turn pain into power. Name it. Don't run from your pain. Identify exactly what you're feeling: anger, loss, betrayal, regret. Find the meaning. Ask, what can this teach me? How can I use this? Even the deepest wounds hold lessons. Channel it into action. Don't let the energy of pain go to waste. Put it into building something, helping someone, or mastering a skill. Transform the narrative. Stop telling the story of what you lost and start telling the story of what you're building because of it. Let it make you sharper. Pain can strip away illusions, comfort zones, and excuses. Use that clarity to act decisively. Pain is powerful because it demands attention. You can't ignore it, so why not direct it? Instead of letting it hollow you out, let it carve you into a stronger version of yourself. Think of steel. It's made stronger through fire. The heat doesn't destroy it, it refines it. In the same way, your inner warrior can be forged in the flames of pain. if you refuse to let that fire consume you and instead let it shape you. When you turn pain into power, you don't just survive. You rise with a force that others can feel. And perhaps most importantly, you inspire others to do the same. Because here's the truth. Someone out there is watching how you handle your pain. And when they see you rise, they will believe they can rise too. Breaking the chains of fear. Fear is one of the most powerful forces in the human mind. It has stopped more dreams than failure ever has. It's the invisible chain that keeps people from starting, from trying, from stepping into the unknown. But here's the truth. Fear itself is not the enemy. Paralysis is. Every warrior feels fear. The difference between the ones who rise and the ones who remain stuck is that the first group learns to move forward with fear instead of waiting for it to disappear. The most dangerous lie fear tells you is, "I'll go away once it's safe." But it never works like that. Waiting for fear to vanish is like waiting for the waves to stop before you learn to swim. I remember coaching a young entrepreneur named Alok. He had an incredible business idea, but sat on it for years. He told me, "What if I fail? What if people laugh? What if I lose everything?" The irony was that in trying to avoid those outcomes, he was already living them, stuck, unseen, and unfulfilled. His turning point came when he realized something. Fear wasn't a signal to stop. It was a signal that the path ahead mattered. Breaking the chains of fear isn't about becoming fearless. It's about becoming courageous. Courage is action in the presence of fear. Here's how you start breaking those chains. Expose fear to the light. Name exactly what you're afraid of. Vague fears feel enormous. Named fears become specific and manageable. Challenge the story fear tells. Most fears are exaggerated versions of reality. Ask yourself, what's the most likely outcome? Really? Take micro steps. You don't have to leap into the deep end. Start small. Fear shrinks in proportion to your familiarity with the challenge. Anchor in purpose. When the reason you're acting is bigger than the fear loses control. Collect proof. Every time you act despite fear, you gather evidence that you can handle more than you think. One of the most liberating truths you can embrace is this: fear is often a sign you're moving in the right direction. It shows you care, that there's something at stake, that you're stepping beyond comfort. That's where growth lives. Warriors know that fear will walk beside them on every important journey. But they also know that fear can't steer unless you hand it the reins. And once you start moving forward despite fear, you discover something amazing. The monster you imagined was often just a shadow. The day you stop letting fear dictate your steps, you unlock parts of yourself you never knew existed. And those parts are the ones that will carry you to victories you once thought impossible. Chapter 8. Small wins, big momentum. When you're rebuilding, it's tempting to think only big victories matter. Landing the dream job, launching the business, running the marathon. But the truth is, big wins are built on small ones, and small wins are what create unstoppable momentum. Momentum is the quiet, invisible force that carries you forward once you start moving. The hardest part of any journey is the beginning, when you're pushing against the weight of inaction. That's why your first goal after being knocked down is not to achieve something huge. It's to achieve something possible. I met a man named Dinesh who had been out of shape for years and wanted to run a half marathon. The problem was, he hadn't even jogged in months. If he had focused only on the full race, he might have quit before starting. Instead, he committed to walking just 10 minutes a day. That was his first win. Then it became 20 minutes, then slow jogging. 6 months later, he completed his first 5K. The small wins created the momentum that eventually carried him to his half marathon. Small wins do 3 important things. Build confidence. Each win proves to you that you're capable. Create progress loops. Progress leads to more action, which creates more progress. Shift your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who's trying and start seeing yourself as someone who's doing. Here's how to start harnessing the power of small wins. Set the smallest possible actionable goal, one that you can achieve in the next 24 hours. Celebrate progress, not perfection. Recognize that showing up is a victory in itself. Stack wins daily. Even tiny actions done consistently compound over time. Track your wins. Keep a visible record so you can see your growth, especially on hard days. Momentum has a way of making the impossible feel inevitable. Once you've stacked enough wins, your belief in yourself becomes unshakable, and that belief accelerates your results. Warriors understand that battles are won not only through decisive strikes, but also through the steady, relentless advance, step by step, day by day. Every time you rack up a small win, you're telling your inner warrior, we're moving forward. We're building strength. We're getting closer. Never underestimate the power of a small win. It may feel minor in the moment, but it's the seed of something massive. And when you combine enough of those seeds, you create a forest of victory. Chapter 9. Learning to bend, not break. Life's storms are inevitable. No matter how strong you are, there will be moments when the winds are too fierce and the pressure too great. In those moments, survival isn't about rigid strength. It's about flexibility. A tree that refuses to bend in a hurricane will snap. A tree that bends with the wind survives to stand another day. Many people mistake resilience for stubbornness. They think being strong means never changing, never adjusting, never yielding. But true resilience is the ability to adapt without losing yourself. It's the capacity to bend when needed, so you can rise again when the storm passes. I once met a woman named Leela who worked as a high-ranking executive in a company she had been loyal to for over 20 years. When the company was acquired, her role was suddenly eliminated. Instead of digging in and clinging to her exact job title and industry, she asked herself, where else can my skills be valuable? Within months, she shifted into consulting and discovered a career path she enjoyed even more. If she had refused to bend, she might still be looking backward, mourning the position she lost. Here's the truth. Bending is not breaking. It's a survival skill, and it's one of the most important traits your inner warrior can develop. How to learn to bend without breaking. Detach from titles and labels. Who you are is not the same as the role you hold or the situation you're in. Stay open to new paths. The road to your goal may twist, turn, or even split entirely. That doesn't mean you won't arrive. Adjust without abandoning. You can adapt your methods while holding on to your core values and ultimate vision. Practice mental flexibility. Ask yourself, what else could work whenever you feel stuck? Think about martial arts masters. They don't resist every force with brute strength. They redirect it, using the opponent's energy to their advantage. Life's challenges can be the same. The force that feels like it's pushing you down can be the same force that launches you forward, if you know how to pivot. Your inner warrior's strength isn't just in the force of your strike. It's in your ability to survive the strike of others. And that survival often depends on bending, not breaking. Remember, a warrior who refuses to adapt becomes predictable. A warrior who can adapt becomes unstoppable. Fueling yourself with purpose. Power without purpose is wasted energy. You can train your body, sharpen your skills, and develop resilience, but without a clear why, you'll eventually burn out. Purpose is what fuels the inner warrior through the longest battles. Purpose is more than just a goal. Goals can be achieved and replaced. Purpose is the deeper reason you keep moving forward, even when the path is dark. It's the fire that keeps burning when motivation fades. I once met a man named Harish who worked grueling hours as a doctor in a rural clinic. The pay was low, the resources were scarce, and the conditions were exhausting. I asked him how he kept going. He smiled and said, because every day I'm here, someone goes home alive who might not have. That was his purpose, and it fueled him far beyond what money or recognition could. Without purpose, challenges feel heavier. With purpose, even the heaviest load feels bearable because you know why you're carrying it. Here's how to fuel yourself with purpose. Identify what matters most to you. Is it family, freedom, service, creativity, mastery? Name it clearly. Connect your daily actions to your bigger why. Even small routine tasks become meaningful when tied to a purpose. Let purpose guide your decisions. When faced with tough choices, ask, which path aligns with my why? Revisit and refine. Purpose can evolve over time. Keep checking in with yourself. Your inner warrior needs more than discipline, it needs direction. Purpose is that direction. It's the compass you check when the fog rolls in and you can't see the horizon. When you align your actions with your purpose, every victory feels richer, and every setback feels like a step towards something greater. Purpose transforms pain into perseverance, effort into excellence, and struggle into strength. There will be days when you question whether it's worth it. That's when you must return to your purpose and remind yourself why you began this journey. Purpose doesn't just get you started, it keeps you going. A warrior without purpose may win battles but lose the war. A warrior with purpose can lose 100 battles and still find the strength to win the one that matters most. Mastering self-discipline. If resilience is the armor of a warrior, self-discipline is the sword. It's the tool you wield every single day to cut through laziness, distraction, and excuses. Without discipline, even the most inspired person will stall. Without discipline, even the clearest purpose will fade into wishful thinking. The truth about self-discipline is simple. It's not something you're born with. It's something you build. And just like any skill, it grows stronger with practice. I once met a man named Arvind who dreamed of writing a book. For 10 years, he talked about it but never started. His problem wasn't talent. He had plenty of that. His problem was discipline. One day, frustrated with himself, he made a simple rule. Write 1 page a day, no matter what. Some days he wrote for hours. Other days he forced himself to write just a few sentences. But he never broke the chain. In 9 months, his manuscript was done. That's the secret. Discipline isn't about doing everything perfectly every day. It's about showing up consistently, regardless of how you feel. Here's how warriors master self-discipline. Start with non-negotiables. Identify a small set of actions you will do every day, no matter what. Remove friction. Make the desired behavior easy to start. If you want to run in the morning, put your shoes by your bed the night before. Use accountability. Tell someone your commitment or track your progress where you can see it. Anticipate resistance. Expect that you won't always feel motivated, and plan for it. Build on momentum. Discipline compounds. The more you follow through, the easier it becomes. Many people think discipline kills freedom. The truth is the opposite. Discipline creates freedom. When you control your actions, you control your future. When you leave your actions up to chance, you become a slave to mood, circumstance, and impulse. Warriors know that the real battle isn't fought in moments of glory. It's fought in the quiet moments when no one is watching, when you choose to stick to your plan instead of giving in to comfort. Discipline may feel like a burden at first, but it transforms into strength. And that strength is what carries you through when inspiration runs dry. Chapter 12. Surrounding yourself with strength. No warrior fights alone. The people around you can either strengthen your resolve or weaken it. They can pull you forward or drag you down. If you want to train your inner warrior, you must be intentional about your environment, both the people you spend time with and the influences you allow into your mind. There's a saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. That's not just a catchy line. It's a truth backed by human behavior. We adopt the habits, mindsets, and even the expectations of those we are closest to. If you're surrounded by complainers, you'll complain more. If you're surrounded by action takers, you'll act more. I once worked with a young woman named Annika who was trying to change her health. She had been eating well and exercising, but her progress kept stalling. When we looked closer, it turned out her friends regularly pressured her to skip workouts and indulge in habits she was trying to leave behind. It wasn't malicious, they simply weren't aligned with her goals. Once she began spending more time with people who supported her health journey, her progress accelerated. Surrounding yourself with strength doesn't mean cutting people off cold without reason. It means being clear about who and what gets access to your time, energy, and attention. Steps to build a strong circle. Seek out role models. Spend time with people who are living the way you want to live. Find accountability partners. Share your goals with someone who will challenge you to stay on track. Limit toxic influences. This includes not just people, but media, conversations, and environments that drain your energy. Contribute to others' strength. Be the person who uplifts, supports, and inspires the people in your circle. Your environment is a silent force shaping you every day. The right environment makes discipline easier, courage more natural, and setbacks less devastating. The wrong environment can sabotage even the strongest mindset. A warrior's tribe is their lifeline. It's the support that keeps them standing when the fight gets long. Choose your tribe with the same care you'd choose your weapons, because both will decide the outcome of your battles. Surviving a storm is one thing. Thriving after it is another. Many people come out of difficult seasons exhausted and cautious, afraid of the next wave. But a warrior understands that life isn't about hiding from storms. It's about learning to sail with them and grow stronger because of them. When the worst has passed, you're left with two choices. Return to normal and pretend nothing happened, or take what you've learned and build a life that's better than before. Thriving beyond the storm means refusing to waste the pain you endured. I remember speaking with a man named Rahul who had lost his business in a sudden market crash. For months he was in survival mode, cutting costs, downsizing his life, doing whatever it took to stay afloat. But when the dust settled, he had a choice. Rebuild the same type of business or create something new based on what he had learned. He chose the latter, building a leaner, more resilient company that eventually surpassed his old one. His storm didn't just test him, it trained him. Here's what thriving beyond the storm looks like. Conduct a lessons learned review. Ask yourself, what strengths did I discover? What mistakes will I never repeat? What new skills or perspectives have I gained? Rebuild with intention. Don't rush to return to old patterns. Use this as a reset point to design a better path forward. Stay prepared. Keep some of the habits and systems you use to survive, even in good times. Share your strength. Helping others navigate their own storms turns your survival into a legacy. The key to thriving isn't avoiding challenges. It's becoming the kind of person who can turn every challenge into fuel. Warriors don't just patch up their armor after a battle. They reinforce it for the next one. And as they do, they walk taller, with a quiet confidence that only comes from knowing they've been tested and prevailed. Thriving means living with depth, gratitude, and readiness. It's about refusing to live in fear of the next storm, because you know, deep down, you can handle it. Chapter 14. Becoming unshakable. There's a point in a warrior's journey when they stop reacting to every challenge with panic or doubt. They move with a grounded presence, as if nothing can truly shake them. This is not arrogance, it's mastery. Becoming unshakable doesn't mean you don't feel fear or pressure. It means you've trained your mind and heart to hold steady under them. Think of a tree in strong winds. A shallow-rooted tree will fall in the first storm, but one with deep roots sways, bends, and still stands tall when the winds pass. Your mindset, values, and habits are your roots. The deeper they go, the stronger you become. When I met Mira, she was in the middle of a personal crisis. Job loss, relationship ending, financial strain. Most people in her position would have crumbled, but Mira approached each problem with calm clarity. She had built years of resilience through consistent habits: meditation, journaling, regular exercise, and a close support network. When trouble came, she didn't need to scramble to find her footing. She was already standing on solid ground. Here's how to become unshakable. Know your non-negotiables. Have a clear sense of what matters most, so decisions become easier in tough times. Practice emotional regulation. Learn to pause, breathe, and respond instead of reacting impulsively. Keep your body strong. Physical health reinforces mental resilience. A warrior trains both. Maintain perspective. Ask yourself, will this matter in 5 years? To cut problems down to size. Trust your training. Confidence grows from knowing you've faced hard things before and survived. The unshakable warrior isn't someone who avoids difficulty. They've simply faced enough of it to know they can endure. And because they're not rattled by every gust of wind, they make clearer choices, inspire others, and live with less fear. When you reach this stage, life feels different. Challenges still come, but they no longer define you. Successes still excite you, but they don't control you. You move with a calm strength, knowing you are equipped for whatever comes next. Chapter 15. Living your strongest chapter yet. Every journey has a beginning and an end, but the life of a true warrior is not measured by chapters past. It's measured by the strength carried into each new one. You've walked through storms, risen after falls, faced fears, rebuilt yourself, and discovered the unshakable power within. Now, the question is not what's next for life, it's what's next for you. Living your strongest chapter yet is not about waiting for the perfect moment to arrive. It's about deciding, right here, right now, that you will live with purpose, courage, and conviction, regardless of what life throws your way. The truth is, your strongest chapter doesn't have to be the final one. It can start today and keep building for the rest of your life. I once met an elderly man named Arvind at a leadership retreat. At 72 years old, he had just started learning photography, was mentoring young entrepreneurs, and was training for his first marathon. When I asked him why, he smiled and said, "Because I refuse to let my best days be behind me. I choose to keep writing better chapters." His life was proof that strength isn't about age, luck, or circumstances. It's about choice. Here's how you can live your strongest chapter yet. Set bold, meaningful goals. Don't just aim for comfort. Aim for something that excites and scares you in equal measure. Stay in the arena. Keep showing up, even when it's hard. The warrior's greatest victories often come after the longest battles. Invest in your growth. Keep learning. Keep training. Keep evolving. Stagnation is the enemy of strength. Lead with impact. Use your experiences to inspire and uplift others. A warrior's legacy is not just survival, but the strength they give to others. Refuse to coast. Comfort is tempting, but progress lives at the edge of discomfort. Push forward, always. Your strongest chapter will not be written by accident. It will be written by deliberate action, daily discipline, and an unwavering belief in your ability to rise. Every setback will become a stepping stone. Every challenge will become a teacher. Every victory will become a reminder that you are capable of far more than you once believed. So, as we close this journey together, I want you to imagine yourself 1 year from now. Picture a version of you that is stronger, bolder, and more focused than you are today. Then decide, in this moment, to take the first step toward becoming that person. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. Because the warrior within you is ready. Because the world needs your strength. Because this, right here, right now, can be the start of your strongest chapter yet.